so happy to have you here and to celebrate this at SAFE. My name is Korinah Sodahlon, and I'm honored to be moderating this discussion today. And I've had the pleasure of witnessing this treasure grow for the last 5 years. And I've gone to wear a couple of different hats along the way. I photographed the cover of the last 2 issues. I copy edited. I have also helped with strategy and just Aaliyah's right-hand girl. And I'm honored to have played that role. And I mean, Aaliyah is editor-in-chief extraordinaire. She's the founder of POPOUT zine, and for those who don't know her, she is a Swiss Army knife of grace and talent.
Yes, facts.
I'd like to start by asking Aaliyah, why POPOUT? Did you know that this was the big idea?
So, shout out to POPOUT zine. This is our 5th year. From the idea, it was started with just an idea in my undergrad days. POP means pursuit of purpose. So it was this rally call I had for everyone in Atlanta. When I lived in Atlanta, I had this rally call like, find your purpose, we're going to do it. Like I was just so hopeful. And that's where POP came from. And then I came to study at AUP, the American University of Paris. And I was like, I want to do something for my thesis that's different. And everybody's like, different, ew, like boring. Oh, you should do it in regular thesis. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do a thesis. And there was one professor who believed in me, who's in this room today. And sometimes it only takes one person to believe in your dream to see it into fruition. And Madeline was one of those people. And she stood beside me the whole entire way for our 1st edition, which was my thesis in that moment. Now we're at the 3rd edition, and I knew POP was it. I'm a very religious and spiritual person. I know that God speaks through me through my gifts, and like some things you just know. Like when they say when you're in love, you just know it. And I'm like, I'm in love with my gift, and I'm grateful that I'm able to share it through paper, and very rare items these days that people don't give enough recognition to. I love paper. I love the smell of it. I love to touch it. I love to be proud of looking at art through it. I'm one of those people. That's how POP got started, and now we have a whole community 5 years later. It's just like a big blessing, truly.
Congratulations for taking a seedling and continuing on after so many years too. It's really exciting.
Okay, teamwork.
When you chose the theme for this issue, perspective, how much leeway did you give to artists in interpreting that theme?
Okay, so this edition, our 3rd edition, is the perspective issue. And with the print, the way we find our artists, like we specifically pick people for the print. We also have a digital magazine, art gallery, where people are able to send in their work to us, and then we're able to showcase them through our digital platform. But with paper, we're very specific. We're like, there's some conversations I might have in passing, and someone might think I forgot, but it's always on my mind. Like there's always something. For instance, like our cover girl, Moldy. Shout out to Moldy. She's not just a cover girl. I don't want to say cover girl. Cover artist. Because she's there's no words, literally. Just a conversation we had about mushrooms. And the documentary we watched on Netflix about mushrooms, like, you have to watch this documentary. And I'm like, I would love to hear your point of view on it. Like, maybe that could be in the next magazine. And it just all starts from a conversation. And then that conversation evolved into the cover. And then mushrooms were always like, oh, mushrooms. I had a t-shirt of mushrooms. I'm like, I have to wear this t-shirt today. It's just the people you know. I'm obsessed with my friends. The majority of my friends are artists, which I'm grateful for because they inspire me, motivate me. We have artists in the room right now in this present moment, and that's how I relate with the artists or get artists to be involved with the print. I'm just interested in their gift. And if they allow me to highlight it more and uplift it more and cultivate it more, I want to be a part of that in any way I can. I'm not going to say every day is perfect, but we're going to try to get it there. I'm going to try to get it there. Welcome. Come on in, girlfriend.
So when it comes to choosing artists, how do you know that someone's a good fit?
very serendipitous. Because I'm not going to say that I'm like, oh, like there's some people I know, like my team instantly. I'm like, Korinah's good at photography, not even good. I love Korinah's photography so much. I want to see it again and again. And then Basha, who's in the room right here in the center, like, yeah, there are some things I see that artists post or they'll tell me their story, and that's basically how I choose. I'm like, oh, that goes to what I'm feeling right now. It's all in alignment with what I'm going through in that moment. I'm like, oh, I need a perspective shift. I'm focusing on the wrong things. I need to do better. Or being super hard on myself and super stressed. And I'm like, maybe it's just all about perspective shift, and you'll focus in on something like that's where you need to be, you know? So that's it.
It's beautiful, and I feel like it's a very mutual relationship with the artist that you choose, that they're a fan of your work too.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the art in the magazine?
So this is the perspective issue, and the art of the magazine specifically is about going through a journey as a hero, or not even starting off as a hero, just probably your perspective on your journey. What are you going through? What is the evolution of the human experience as an artist? What's the evolution of just being a human? And I'm always interested, clearly I'm obsessed with artists. Let's just start there. I'm obsessed with artists, and I always want to know their perspective, because artists are the storytellers of our time. What's happening right now, or what's happening in their perspective, it tells a story of what we're going through. And we've been through a lot in the last 5 years It's been a lot for all of us. And the art in the magazine resembles the journey of hardships, sometimes wanting to give up, sometimes not wanting to finish, sometimes not wanting to see it through. And there are many times I've not wanted to see it through. Sometimes I'm like, I just can't do this shit anymore. I literally say that. And then I call Korinah, and Korinah's like, girl, you're tripping. Let's change our perspective. Let's do it again. Let's retry. I think that's how the art is evolving to the magazine. Maybe we paused for a very long period of time, then we picked it back up in a different moment in our lives, which made it even better. And then this magazine was supposed to come out at least 6 months ago, but then God saw fit that on my birthday week, that we had like 62 artists. I guess art in alignment.
And it's really beautiful. Like the artist journey, there are challenges along the way where we're called to overcome them. Were there any challenges that you faced from going from the conception of the idea to print?
Oh, I feel like every day was an obstacle. Like the challenges I faced, I think in the beginning when you have the idea is always the fun part, because you're in the brainstorming phase where there are no limits. For POPOUT, we don't follow rules. We create the trend. We do what we want to do, period. But then I think a problem that I face, a very hard challenge, becoming more of a woman and a human, I was going through a phase where I was trying to follow a Pinterest board instead of following the inner guide that was set before me and for me. And I went through a long period of just like, what do you think? No, what do you think? But then I forgot, I'm a leader, so what am I asking this for? I had to like check myself before I wrecked the social and everything that I built, and not trying to focus on like, what does everybody think? And I always tell my team before the hardship, we create what we want to see. It's not about what is it that we go through that we want to see. And I think that was a challenge. I was kind of like in a foggy moment of my art and building and just my life in general, that I couldn't see the clearer vision, and I was creating a fog. So when you're creating a fog, you're not creating a clean cut, you're just kind of moving, you're kind of a robot. And I'm like, we're not robots. I'm a human, I'm proud of being a human. And when I broke out of that, I think the challenge was met, and I faced it head on, like, all right, me and you, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna elevate, or are we gonna just sit here? And I appreciate, like, even the artists who are a part of the magazine, they're so excited, like, when is the magazine gonna come out? And I was like, all right, Leah, wake up. You're like, another nap, no more naps needed. Like, wake up and do this. It's not about me. That's how you face a challenge. You remember, like, your gift is bigger than this moment. Your gift is bigger than your gift is bigger. So once you realize that, challenges who? Okay, that's that. No challenges, but it happens.
How do you decide which story to tell?
Good question. How do I decide what story to tell? I think it's all about my personal experience. Like, The first edition was the identity crisis. The second edition was the noble reveal. And the third edition clearly is the perspective issue. And I think it's just my personal story. Like what I'm going through in that moment, what I feel like I want to make stronger, what I feel like I'm walking through, what I feel like I want to learn, that's that. That's how I come with it. Things that I'm going through. And then I bring it to my team, and the team is like, me too! Like, it's like we're all kind of like in alignment, like, hell yeah, this is happening, yeah, like, this is it. And I'm like, all right, let's get into it. Let's build from there. Let's do it. Yeah.
I think it's really incredible how you're able to choose themes and lessons from your life that really resonate with your community and with you in the final product as well. So how do you find a community in a country that is foreign from your own?
Good question.
Right, good question. Well, I'll start with like friendship. Friendship is essential to the soul. I truly believe that. That's something I truly believe. And my friends are also inspiring. Clearly, you're interviewing me right now, my best friend in the entire world. And friendship is so important. So we have a team of 5. I'll start with there. Our international team. We have a team member in New York, a team member who's here from California, a team member in Texas, and a team member, we have team members here in Paris. And every Sunday we meet. We're like accountability partners. Like, all right, Aaliyah, you said you was doing this week, and I'm like on them like, okay, this is what's happening. And that's the start, like accountability. And then like here in Paris, it's like I'll be cooking or something. We're at a kickback. You know how Paris is, you know, at a park or something. And someone says one word. One of my friends, Ava, she was like, she's on the POPOUT team now. She's into publishing. She just walked up to me. I was cooking. And she was like, I want to be a publisher. And I said, I'm in publishing. And then from that point, our relationship just grew and blossomed. And you'll see people who are serious, who really want to like build themselves up along with you, and people who are not asking anything of you. They're just like, I want to see this succeed, and I want to be a part of this succeeding. And that's how it just happens. We're all trying to grow together. And that's what it's about, like tribe, yeah.
Is that a hint at something?
Possibly it is a hint, but that's a life hack.
Okay.
I think that's a slept-on hack. Like the people around you really influence and change and shape your perspective. I'm a poet sometimes.
So what draws you to a person's work?
Honesty. Like when someone's just honest, like they're themselves, authentic, true. I'm like, oh, like no one else could said that but Basha. Like I see her for like her images and I'm like, oh my. I'm like, I'm like, ah! Everybody knows like I have an iconic scream. When I'm like excited, I'm like, that's how you create. That's how you get people excited. That's how you wake up in the morning. When I see someone like, I was at K's, Peter, shout out to Peter, he's a musician, R&B/rapper. I was at his show and I was like in a vortex, like he welcomed us in there. That's what attracts me to something. I'm welcomed in. I'm not like, it's accessible to me and it inspires, it makes me want to like join the cause. I'm like, what can I do to make this better for all of us in the world, because we need more light. So if you can provide the light, I'm like, here for it. Here for it.
I think your openness draws others to you and has clearly been able to help you create a community that cares and is inspired and that you care about as well. So what does it mean to be an artist that represents POPOUT? What does it mean to represent POPOUT, and who represents POPOUT?
I think this question and the last question is very synonymous. Because the artists that represent POPOUT are very authentic. There's no one, when I open the magazine and I see it, there's no one like these people. I mean, I love people who have their own identity. I don't hide behind you because I'm shy, or if you're shy, that's fine, but I don't hide behind you because I'm afraid to step up or I'm afraid to pop out. Because at POPOUT, we like to pop out. And that's a fact. We're dramatic, we're very dramatic, but we're also very loving. And that's what it is. That's as simple as that. Yeah.
So when it comes to popping out, how do you foresee the next 5 years? What does the next 5 years of POPOUT look like for you?
This, even bigger. Like the people, the tribe expanding, like our lights connecting and touching the world, our lights connecting and making life better. So the next 5 years of POPOUT, I would love to see us doing more shows, vernissage, exhibitions for artists to showcase their works in bigger spaces. I would love, what will happen is that we will also offer more digital experiences for our artists. The world is digital, even though we're a very printed publication, but we offer so many other things to highlight more of what we do and to highlight the artists that we do. I think I want to expand that because our base is very strong, but I wanted to elevate more. That's what I think we're on the right path and not losing sight of the path that we're on and like building a tree. Yeah.
So you mentioned that when you met Ava, she mentioned that she was interested in publishing. Well, do you have any advice for others who are interested in following in your footsteps?
Advice for, I hope no one follows my footsteps. I hope you carve your own footprint. And just know that we have each other here along the way. If you ever need anything, that is the whole purpose of Pop Out. If you ever need a come back home moment, a come to Jesus moment, a come to whatever moment, Pop Out is here. But follow your own footprint, like be your own authentic self. That's the hot spot right there. Like, and not doing anything for others, but do it from here and from like the source. All is well. In the words of the great Modi Smith, go for it, be brilliant, and all will be well.
What do you wish you knew 5 years ago when you started this journey?
What do I wish I knew? What do I wish I
What
knew?
advice would you give to yourself 5 years ago? That could have maybe helped.
Keep doing you. Like I don't think it's anything new I would add except for just keep going, girlfriend. You're doing it. Like it's like you're doing it, and just keep doing it, and just keep doing it. Even when you get tired, even when life gets you, even when you feel like you don't want to do it, even when you're hungover, even when you're not hungover, even when you wake up, even when you praise the Lord, even when you have friends in town, keep doing it because you got to keep doing it because what you do matters. And I think I'm grateful that I've always been a me on me type of girl. Like I talk to myself about everything. Like I come back to me, and I'm grateful for that. Like that's very important to me to be able to say, like in those moments 5 years ago, I would say to myself like, this is what I want to do, so I have to do it. Like nothing made me more alive than creating. Nothing. So I'm grateful that a little Aalyiah on Leah crime happened, and I'm grateful for those moments. So I think that I would tell Aalyiah once again, girl, those outfits, those candy necklaces, those ring pops, we love it all. And just keep going and talking your talk. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you, Aalyiah. Before we have any closing remarks, I'd like to open the floor up for questions. Does anyone want to ask anything? I told you to be ready.
Oh my gosh.
You did say that.
Yes?
So when your perspective shifts, sometimes does your purpose shift? And when that happens, if that happens, do you always try to tie it back to the original purpose?
That's the question.
Girl.
Sorry. I was here to learn.
When your perspective shifts, does your purpose shift? I'm not going to say in life there's only one purpose. I don't want us to get tied up to think that there's one thing we have to do. I used to think that, but sometimes I used to live like that. Like, this is the only thing I have to do when I'm great at many things and not like spreading myself too thin great, but I'm really good at many things and I think I can tap into those things. But for me, like I think once you know what's in your heart, like some things just don't shift. Even when a great quote I heard. Be firm in your decision making, but be flexible in your approach. So my decision will always be, we're making a magazine, baby. But the way to get there, it will not look the same. The first magazine, from the second magazine, from the third magazine, they all looked different. But the one thing was in mind, that magazine is going to be made. That's, my purpose was there. And that made me like, okay, I know the goal. The purpose is like a goal. Like even if you're the purpose is like a goal. My purpose is to get to this, but I'm gonna, if I have to go left, I'm gonna go left. If I have to go right, I'm gonna go right. If I have to lay on the floor, take a break, swim, I have to do that. And not be afraid to shift a little bit to get to that goal. So it might differ. I think as humans, things differ person to person, however, for like when that goal is in mind, when you have something in mind, it will stick, but your approach can be in every which way. That's just my experience.
Ava.
When sometimes, like when you have any sort of goal, things can get really hard when things don't go your way. You know, we all learn in a process of how to make things better. So like when things are not going well, whether it's in the process of making a magazine or your art or your life, you know, we're all kind of in our mid to late 20s, early 30s. It's a confusing time. How do you keep on your purpose without getting too caught up in the drama and hardships and everything in life?
My family. I'm grateful to come from a good place. Like, I'm from Detroit, if y'all didn't know. Shout out to my city. Hey. Detroit is a place of soul. Like, Detroit has soul. Like, I come from a place where soul, like Detroit gets a really bad rep, like really bad. But Detroit is really like a beautiful place. And I think I always come back home. Like, I always come back home. Like, home, you start like with that's the same. You start with that purpose. My purpose is family, faith, focus. When I focus on those things, no matter how hard it is, I'm like, nobody, like I think for me, I'm a very dramatic and existential thinker. So sometimes I'm like, okay, nobody dead today that I know. So relax. I'm alive, I'm on the side of the living. I can wake up and do it again. That's how I think sometimes. That's just my personal thought process. So if I'm thinking like I'm alive, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to get up and do it again. Sometimes I might take a break. Sometimes I might call and cry. But when you have that support system and you have a base, all is well. Like, inshallah. Yeah.
So this is your third issue, and I imagine that there are some parts that if you're really excited about each part. So I wanted to ask, is there a particular element or chapter or part of this issue that's your absolute favorite today? Because I know it can change.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Do I have a favorite? No, but I have a most memorable. Ari, my right-hand man right here. We did a shoot. We had a week. Like I be telling people, I tell Ari sometimes, today, this is the week we're going to shoot every single day. So be prepared. And then sometimes I'm not prepared, but then Ari's like, are you up? Dang, Ari. And this one day, I think the day before I got super drunk, and then the next day, I was like, I don't think I can do it. I was going to text Ari, like, I can't do it. It was like 7 a.m. And then Ari already texted me like, hey, I'm about to head out. I was like, Ari! And we did this shoot. It's the editor's note. And it's with me. And it was just a morning, like, we said that day, everything has to work. We said, with all of these shoots, we always say that, but this day, because he tried this new film. So if it touches the light, it won't work. So I had to like James Brown him and put the blanket over him, and then like, he's under the blanket, and we created like some of my favorite masterpieces. And I think that was a memorable moment for me, because it's just like, Ari and I are walking around Paris, like, we're going here, we're gonna grab a coffee. I made my boyfriend come, he had no choice. And then we're just awake, but then like, we had a goal. We're like, we're gonna do this. We don't have time for like mistakes. There were no time for mistakes. We just like, we're gonna do it. And we did it. And I think that's one of the most memorable ones for me, because I was like, we didn't know how the pictures were gonna come out. Same with the cover shoot. We didn't know how the pictures were gonna come out, but they came out, and I was like, we have faith. And it was just like, all right, we did that. I love her.
What are the three main stages in bringing a magazine to life? For someone who knows nothing about creating a magazine.
I love this question. The three main stages: the brainstorming phase, like where everybody just throw everything's on the table. The editing phase, where you just gotta boss up and say, this can't make it, this can make it, this can't make it, this can make it. And then that final printing, that printing phase is for me one of the hardest, because it's like, what looks good on a computer doesn't look good on paper. So I think those are the main three phases: brainstorming, editing, printing. And then, yeah, those are strong three.